Hey everybody, and welcome back to Angling Archaeology, and this week we got a very special viewer mail unboxing. Now it's summertime, and we have an ultra rare vintage lure inside this box that is perfect for summertime. Stick around, you're not gonna wanna miss it. So before we open up this box of vintage treasure, let me tell you how we got to where we're at today. So a little while back, I made another video where I had purchased some lures from another viewer. And inside that box of lures, he threw in some empty boxes. And one being this one right here. Now this is Tom Mann's Frogman. This has been a lure that has eluded me forever. I've always wanted one of these, but I never wanted to pay up for it. Finding one in the wild is almost impossible, and getting one on eBay is as much as a car payment. These things are crazy expensive for what they are. I think out of box, they're something like 30 bucks or more. In box, I mean, who knows? You know, I'm not even sure at this point what those are even going for, probably north of 50. But I had an extremely nice and generous fan of the show reach out to me and said, hey, I think I might have what you're looking for. I appreciate your content. Thanks for everything you're doing for us. You know, sharing the love of vintage fishing. So I want to send this to you. So I was like, wow, thank you so much, first and foremost. And second, I think we have to make a video about it so we can look a little bit more into the history of this lure. And then we're also going to dive into the history of the other lures inside this unboxing. We got to make it so it's fun and educational, if you will. And as a thank you, I have something for this viewer. So no good deed goes unnoticed, especially here at Angling Archaeology. So you mentioned that your favorite lure was the old school bandits. Well, as a thank you, I just happened to find an old school bandit here, new on card. Now, for the rest of you, if you haven't been bandit shopping in quite some time, I gotta tell you, these things, the prices have just skyrocketed up. I don't know what happened, what the rhyme or reasoning is, where the popularity has come from, but these vintage bandits are very sought after now. So, as a thank you, I got your information already. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in the mail for you and throw in a couple Angling Archaeology decals while we're at it. So, be on the lookout for that. All right, folks, well, enough blabbing. Let's go see what's inside this box. All right, kicking things off, we've got three incredible lures here from Rebel, and what we have here are two different variations of the R series of lures. So we've got a wee R right here, and then we've got two of the suspended R's right here. And what we'll notice first and foremost is that these are the naturalized series. So what is that? Well, in the late 70s, early 80s, it was kind of all the rage to kind of give lures an appearance of a lifelike finish, something to give it more of a realistic look. And this is Rebel's option. And let me show you what these look like up close, because these are incredible. I love the looks of these lures. So what we have here, and this is great that they just put it right there, this is a We Are naturalized crappie finish right here. Just an absolutely insane looking lure. And then we've got two other ones here. These are the exact same ones, so we'll just pull one of them out. And what we have here, this is a naturalized crawdad. Look at the attention to detail on that. Isn't that nice? Dang. Yeah, Rebel did a phenomenal job with these. Let's jump into this 1979 Bass Pro catalog so you guys can really get a better understanding of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that realistic look or that lifelike look, or as Rebel refers to it as the naturalized look, which is really just kind of a 3D printing on the side of a lure to give it the image of a baitfish or a crawdad, which really was the trend of the time. So I apologize for any kind of glare that we have here. I've got a new camera, the other one called the Quits in the Ocean a couple weeks back, and I'm trying to figure out the lighting, but you know what? It's gonna be just fine. You guys are gonna love it. We're gonna look through this. It's gonna be great. So, new for 1979, we see first and foremost, we have the crawfish and the crappie, okay? So you can see right here on the box, it's referred to as the crawdad. It's the exact same thing. The crawfish and the crawdad are the same. The crappie, we have that right here. So we can see this is that printed on lifelike. And let's go rogue a little bit. Why don't we? Here, let me just show you these two so you can see that all the options carried these lifelike prints on here. So Rebel obviously had it. You see like the natural Ike right here. The natural Ike is kind of like their realistic looking pattern. Let's see what else we have here. We're gonna go through a couple. Hey, we're doing this on the fly. Let's take a look here so you guys can see. So right here, let's move that camera back a little bit. The Norman series of lures, we have, boom, that baby bass. Really gives that lifelike appearance. Okay, moving over here, Bomber Model A. Look at that. How about that, huh? That looks incredible. Okay. So we can see, clear as day, a lot of these brands were jumping on this kind of lifelike look. Look at this color chart right here. The perch, the baby bass, the crawflash. All of these lure manufacturers were kind of doing the same type of deal. And you can even see kind of the artist rendering. You got the real frog right here. You got this. So, I mean, they're even advertising that, you know? So, and then Arbogast, I know we're getting into a little bit of a rabbit hole here, folks, but that's okay. We're having fun, right? So the Seeins Believins, that's, you know, to give it the lifelike belly on that as well. So a good way to try to figure out how old some of your lures are. Let's say you're at a garage sale, estate sale, you're in an antique store, and you're curious how old the lure is. Look at this. If you see that lifelike printing or pattern or whatever else, chances are this is going to be from the very late 70s into the early 80s. And that will give you a pretty good idea of how old the lure is. So I hope that helps at least you guys figure out how old some of your stuff is. But this is going to be awesome for the collection. I'm excited to display this. Great lures. So let's jump into the other ones. All right, up next we've got one that was new in the 1983 Bass Pro catalog. And that is none other than the Rebel Racket Shad. And let's just stop and really appreciate this card. How cool is this right here? Absolutely love it. So this is the Toledo Bend finish. I'll go ahead and talk about that a little bit further when we open up the catalog, but it's the new foilized, but how cool is that? And it shows you how to fish it, not only from just the picture of the card right here, but on the back, it gives you tips and tricks. Let me show you a couple other ones too, just so you see what I'm talking about. So we have a talking spoon right here. Now this was not in the box of lures that was sent. This is one that I just had in my collection, but you can see this one's meant to be fished over heavy cover grass, things like that. And then we have a buzzing frog. Again, was not in the box of lures that was just recently sent. This was in the collection, but what I just want to show you is just the card itself and how Rebel just really showed you, hey, if you don't know how to fish it, check out this lily pad. It's obviously, this is, you know, a topwater lure, good to go over pads, things like that. So, but let's talk about the one that did come in the box, and that's this Racket Shad right here. I just love that card. So cool. So let's go ahead and take a little dive for it. So as you can see right here, we got new for 1983. And we can see the one that I have right here is the Toledo Bend Shad. And how do we know that? Because it didn't say right there. Well, it ends in this O2, and you can see the O2 right there. So you can tell that's what that color is. But just a very, very nice lipless crankbait from Rebel. Man, awesome for the collection. I am super excited to have this. All right, in keeping with the lipless crankbait theme, we've got another one here, but this one's from Mann's. It's called the Mann's Maniac. Get it? Maniac. But what I love most about this lure right here is the Texaco symbol right there. So my grandpa actually had a Texaco station back from 1939 all the way up until the mid to late 50s. And this is the only picture we have of that. And just look at that. Look how old school that is. The little globes on top. I mean, it's probably why I love cars so much. You know, it's in my blood. Just absolutely love this. This is just a very cherished photo. So the fact that now I've got a Texaco lure, well, that's just putting my love of cars and fishing all together. I mean, what's not to love about that? So, very cool lure. Now, I don't know a ton of history about the Maniac lure. I know it's obviously not the first lipless crankbait option that Tom Mann had. In fact, he had the hackleback, and probably the most notable hackleback that he had was the Leroy Brown. So here's Leroy Brown, new for 1982. And we can see that right there. And Leroy Brown was Tom Mann's pet bass. Super ultra famous. And why is he called Leroy Brown? Well, you got it. Right there, little Jim Croce. Here we go. Boom. It actually was named Bad Leroy Brown because of the Jim Croce song. So we not only have the hackleback, but there's also other varieties as well that he had. He had the rattle and fin, which is another lipless option. But the Maniac is probably closer in resemblance to, you know, your rattle traps or your spots, things like that. And if I had to put kind of an age range on this, I'd say this is probably sometime in the late 80s, early 90s. And what they did with these lures in particular, I've noticed, is they did a lot of marketing with them. So you'll see not only gas and oil, but you'll see beverage companies kind of put their advertising on it, like Coca-Cola, found one from Crown Royal. I mean, there's, you know, it's kind of a promo style of lure, but really neat. This one will be a fun one in the collection. And here we go. See, I'll just have to put the pictures together. I just think that's really cool. So that is the Mann's Maniac. All right, now for the moment we've all been waiting for, and this box right here is the box that started it all, the Tom Mann's Frogman box. So without further ado, let's see the lure that's gonna go inside of that box, and here it is, folks, the Frogman. The lure that's eluded me forever, and here we have it, right here in hand. So you see it's a hard body, hard plastic body right there. It's got a little tail spin on the back. Very, very cool lure. So we have those two together. So let's go ahead and take a look at the history of it, okay? So we're gonna start right here with this 19, and I don't know if this is 73 or 74. So I made a video about this catalog a couple years ago, and I said 1972. And the reason I said 1972 is because when I bought it on eBay, it said this catalog is from 72, but I don't know if it is. And let me tell you why I don't think it is from 1972. I think it's actually slightly newer than that. And let me pull this aside real quick so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So for this, we have the Fat Albert, okay? And this is new for this catalog. And the reason that I think this is what makes the catalog is 73 or 74, I don't think it's 75, I'm gonna guess it's probably 74, is back in 1974, if you're reading the Bass Pro catalog, it talks about the popularity of the Big O and how it sold over 1 million lures in 1973. So I think in response to the Big O, Mann's came out with the Fat Albert. I mean, it's not a big shock. A lot of other lure manufacturers came out with similar lures like the Big Jim or the N series of lures. As a matter of fact, let me just show you that real quick since we're going into a little bit of a rabbit hole. We're gonna get back to the Frogman in just one second. I'm just trying to decode the year that the Frogman came out. And so, get into a little bit of another rabbit hole here. But anyways, so we have the Rogers lure right here. This is the Big Jim, and it talks about basically saying that it's compared to the Big O. And if we go over one page, I mean, we have the Big B by Bagley, but here's the Big O. And it said, over 1 million sold in the first season. It was the #1 selling lure for 1973. So my thought is that the popularity of this then sprung a lot of, I'm not gonna call them imitations, but other similar styled lures, and the Fat Albert being one of them. So I'm gonna say that the Frogman was likely new for 1974. So that's what we're gonna say. And if there's anybody out there in internet world that knows anything better or different, please let me know. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the correct history, but we'll say for just a educated guess, the new for 1974 came the Frogman. We see it initially came in this nice little plastic case. You can see this box may be a couple years older, so this is probably from, you know, 76, 77, somewhere around that time frame. But we do have this black with yellow spots right there. So the same style right there. All right, let's go ahead and take a little closer look at the actual catalog itself. So as we see right here, we've got the color chart, and it's going to be ascending down this way, and we'll go through the colors that we have here. So we have the frog spot right there. We have the pearl green back, pearl blue back. On this side over here, we have the pearl black back. We have the black with yellow spots, and this one says it's white with yellow spots, but those look a little dark to me. I don't know, maybe it looks different in person. But anyways, so here's what Tom Mann said about the lure. He said, The Frogman is a topwater bait that I have been experimenting with for quite some time, and I've caught a lot of big bass on this lure. It has BB shot inside to throw fine sound waves as it's jerked along the top of the water. If you like topwater fishing, you'll sure enough like this Frogman. Good fishing, Tom Mann. So there you have it. We have a list price here too of $225, and that's per package. And then there's a 12-pack in the display, so pretty neat. So that's what that looks like inside the actual Mann's catalog for, we'll call it 73 or 74. Let's say 74. We're going to move up a couple years to 1976, and we're going to see the first appearance of the Frogman in a Bass Pro catalog. So when we first see this, there's definitely a noticeable difference, and that is the colors. So if you remember the first catalog we looked at, we had the frog spot, but you had those blue backs, the green backs, you had the black with yellow spot, white with yellow spot. This one has the green frog. We still have the frog spot, but now we have a couple coach dog series. So a chartreuse, yellow, brown, and black coach dog. Now, what is a coach dog? Now, a coach dog is simply just a dog. So imagine like a Dalmatian is considered a coach dog. So it's really kind of a dog spot pattern is what a coach dog is. Another thing we're going to notice too, and as all good fishing stories go, there's a little bit more of an elaboration inside the description of the lure. So if you remember the first one, Tom Mann caught a lot of fish. Well, now Tom Mann's going to catch more and bigger fish. So what do we see right here? It says, this super topwater bait has been designed and thoroughly tested by Tom Mann and is a real fish catcher. Before introducing this lure, Tom Mann personally caught 50 bass weighing 6 pounds or over on it. Whoa! Now we're talking about 50 plus bass over 6 pounds with this lure. We didn't hear that in the first catalog, but it's no shock because a lot more eyeballs are going to be reading this than probably his personal catalog, so it makes sense to elaborate this a little bit more. The BB shot contained inside the dual sound chamber will roll from side to side, making this excellent for walking across the surface of the water. This is a show enough winner for all topwater fishermen. Another thing we're going to notice too is the packaging is slightly different, so we have more of this style of packaging for 1976, and the price has gone down. So the Bass Pro price is $139. This price, $250, as we see right here. So you get a little discount going through Bass Pro. So thought you guys would like to see that. So a little bit of an evolution here of the Frogman. We've got some additional colors and very cool. I wish you could still find 3 for $3.99. That would be amazing. I would buy cases of it if I could find them for $3.99. But there you have it. That is the Frogman. So what do you do with a hard-to-find lure that's incredibly expensive and has been eluding you for years? You do the right thing, you tie it to the end of some fishing line, you go fishing with it. Next time on Angling Archaeology, we're going to take out the old bassin barge and put this puppy to the test and see if it really catches all the bass that Tom Mann said it did. So that's going to do it for this episode of Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. I want to thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. If you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. And a big, huge thank you. Thank you again to the viewer who sent in this lure. I'm incredibly grateful for this. And don't worry, your bandit lures are on the way. And for the rest of you folks too, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, hey, like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. And you're going to get the best mediocre fishing content on YouTube. So until next time, folks, we'll see you out on the water. Thanks for watching Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. Don't forget to like and subscribe.